I am so happy to be speaking with you. We've only had a chance with the Pitch Perfect films, a few chats here and there, but boy, oh boy, I gotta tell you, I am in love with this 21st century Cinderella.
Yay!
You knock it out of the park. This is witty. It is contemporary. You're addressing all kinds of socio-political, climatologic issues, feminism. You've got everything in here with definitive nods to the classic fairy tale, and even bringing in a couple other fairy tale elements like that very cool oval mirror where we get that reflection of Idina Menzel's character of Vivian.
You're the first one to bring that up, and I'm so glad you picked up on that.
I started yelling at the screen. It's like, oh my God, Sleeping Beauty. Oh my God.
Yes.
But you have peppered so many things like that in here. These beautiful tacit nods to the classic fairy tale ideas. And then for you to bring, number one, Billy Porter is a fairy godmother. Hello. But the way the whole transformation of a butterfly, which is essentially, this whole film is a transformation as we see women coming to the fore. Princess Gwen finding her voice, Queen Beatrice finding her voice, Ella having a voice from the start and making sure everybody knows she has a voice. But it's such a metamorphosis for society today. And you have nailed every single element, Kay.
Aw, thank you so much. You're going to make me cry.
Hopefully this is eligible for Oscar consideration because Ellen, your costume design and oh my God. And Paul's production design. Hello, I'm championing them right now. Where do you even start with this? Because there have been so many iterations and incarnations of this classic.
Well, I agree with you. There's a reason there's been so many, right? Because it's such an iconic story, and an iconic underdog story specifically for women and young girls. So for me, it was the pitch of, let's tell the Cinderella story using contemporary songs. And so I was like, oh, that actually modernizes it right away. So I got excited by that. And then I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't love the Cinderella story. It wasn't something when I was a little girl that I really was, enamored with. And so I said to James Corden, who had pitched this idea to do Cinderella with using contemporary songs, I said, wait, I could rewrite the story and make it more relatable to how I think young women and girls are perceiving themselves these days. And he was like, yeah. And for me, and then coming from a comedy perspective, for me, that was really exciting because I was like, okay, now I feel, and I started just as they were meeting with other writers. And I said in the room, I was like, I want to do this. I want to write this. They're like, we're meeting with other people. It's like, yeah, okay, but I want to do this. And they hired me as a writer. So I started just as writing it with no designs to direct. And then as I was writing it, I started to fall in love with it. And then that's when I told them, I was like, I'll rewrite this all day, all night if I'm the director of the movie. And they supported me in that. And I will say about the whole iterations, like all the different times, all of us have every generation, I think, has their version of Cinderella that they love. For me, it's the Brandy Whitney Houston version. And my daughter is 7, she's almost 8, and I'm hoping that this is the, that hopefully my Cinderella is her version that she holds on to. And I look forward to 10 years from now when there's another one that addresses and shows it, and it addresses it in a different way and shows it in a different way, so that every generation can have their own that they hold sacred. That's kind of where I'm coming from, and I just really tried to make it as different as possible so that people could see something, this classic, like take all the things that I love about it and keep those, but then just modernize and make fresh the antiquated stuff.
Well, you definitely succeed, and I got to tell you, my heart will always belong to the Leslie Ann Warren Stewart Damon version of Cinderella. Yeah. But yours, I would have to say, you're running a close second with this one.
I so appreciate it. That's my, you're making my point really well. That my daughter hasn't seen your version. She hasn't seen the Whitney Houston, version yet either. Mm-hmm. And she's been forced. I forced her to watch mine.
Well, she's gonna learn to love this version, Kay. I'm telling you. Casting, number one, you've got to have talented sings. I'm so excited to see Nicholas playing Prince Robert. I fell in love with what Michael Damian brought out of him in High Strung. So to see him here is lovely. But your casting, Pierce Brosnan, you got to go with Pierce if you want a king, but then to let him go over the top and really ham it up is hilarious. Minnie Driver is a pure joy. Nobody does sarcasm with a look like Minnie Driver. And Idina Menzel as the wicked stepmother, oh, come on. You gotta go with it. How challenging was the casting and tailoring the dialogue and the songs for each of these actors that you brought in?
Part of the casting, I agree with you. I think the cast is amazing.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I think that, the casting this movie was, there were so many hard things about filming the movie, but because of COVID and, making movies is hard. It's always hard. But the casting of it was quite easy, actually. People were on board, and it was really exciting because if you think about it, I'm trying to show Cinderella in a whole new way, right?
Right.
So I cast Camila Cabello, who hasn't done, any acting before, and I'm telling the world, this is Camila Cabello as Cinderella. You're going to see her in a whole new way. And then you've known her. And that went up for everybody. Minnie, I don't think people realize what a great voice she has. I don't think they know just how funny she is. And Pierce, like you're saying, he's so funny in this. He goes over the top, and then of course I wrote him this song to sing to Minnie. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and he just commits to it so hard, and it's so funny, and it plays so well. And then Nick, I think Nick is amazing, and I think he almost gets a little overshadowed by all the other great cast members. But he's being seen in a way he's never been seen before. He's singing outside of his comfort zone. I mean, he's nailing Freddie Mercury, somebody to love. And then of course the fairy godmother being the Fab G, and Billy just even playing that part is something new and different. So it was kind of for everybody involved. I had never directed a musical before, and all these actors had not really been seen in these ways before. That makes it feel refreshing and exciting and surprising to the audience, And that's kind of what I was looking for. I was looking for, trying to find, what makes them unique and different and special, right? And showing that on screen.
Well, you definitely, and anybody that has never heard Minnie sing before, they got to go back and see Phantom of the Opera because she has an incredible voice.
She has such a great voice. Yeah, I think she sings in Goldeneye too.
Yeah, I think so. Your casting and these roles are just so perfect. But the big challenge here is directing a musical. Number one, 50% of your budget must have gone for license fees for these songs. My God, Kay. Your needle drops are to die for. And then you have Michael Dana and Jessica come in and have original score that ties everything together. This had to be a do or die with these songs because they are so perfect for the story you are telling. What kind of challenges did you face with that? And then putting it all together in a musical package as a director.
Yeah, look, the pressure to pick, the arranging of the songs was not that difficult because I wrote the script, like every song was like dialogue on the page.
Right.
And so I knew what I wanted to do with every performance. The picking of the songs was the most challenging part because I didn't want to mess up, right? So myself with a whole music team of people, like I had this big music board where I had like songs where I was like, I feel pretty confident about Somebody to Love. I feel pretty confident about Rhythm Nation and You've Gotta Be. I don't know what we're doing here at the ball. Like we got to figure this, like figuring out the What a Man and Seven Nation Army going together. Like that took a lot of like demoing and figuring out and making sure that it's right. The hardest one to figure out was the finale because the finale had to do a lot for us. And it was really important that I have a Latinx representation. So the fact that like Gloria Estefan wrote Let's Get Loud, made famous by Jennifer Lopez, when I have a Latinx star in Cinderella with Camila, like I felt like Let's Get Loud was like kind of the answer to my prayers in a way because it had to feel like a dance party. It had to be on theme where everybody was like saying Let's Get Loud is like everybody needs to have a voice and we all need to be able to be heard and celebrated. And then I had this big apology between Vivian, the stepmother, and Cinderella. So I needed to slow it down. It was a lot. And you just don't want to pick the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you hope that the artist gives you the right. Like I remember going like to Denise Louisa, who was our music supervisor. I was like, how expensive is Material Girl? Like what can we get? But the artists were really great, and they all were very supportive, and even allowed us to change the lyrics of some of the songs.
It was Material Girl that really had me wondering, cost-wise, what the fee was, because Queen, we hear Queen all the time, and they're very generous in their license fees for using their songs appropriately. But yeah, Material Girl, that was the one, and I think the only thing we've ever heard it in might be a little bit in Moulin Rouge, but that's it.
Just a little bit in Moulin Rouge. But it was, you know what, to be honest with you, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Wow.
It was cool. Yeah.
Part and parcel with this is the color and the use of color and design, not just in the production design, but in Ellen's costuming that she has for everybody. And you've got hundreds upon hundreds of costumes here. I'm curious what you were looking for visually through costume and production design to create this beautiful visual tonal bandwidth that Henry could just go to town with light and lens.
Yeah, and he uses a lot of natural light too, so it's to let the costumes speak for themselves. I was really inspired by A Knight's Tale, where you take like a traditional look and feel of a long time ago, and then you give it these modern twists. So I wanted the town square, where a lot happens in the town square, our opening, our closing, the meet cute between Cinders and Prince Robert. And I wanted it to be a multicultural, colorful explosion in the town square. But I don't know if you noticed this, but what I did was I had the colorist dull the color at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, when it was like a happy ever after for all the characters, by the end, the townspeople all wore the same costumes throughout the whole thing. Every day they were wearing the same thing. There was no changing up. That was mostly a COVID situation, but but it worked for us. And by the end, when they're doing Let's Get Loud, those same costumes they're wearing and the same colors, I had them brighten them.
Yeah.
But it seemed more colorful and more of a happy ever after. So I just, I wanted the town square to feel like it was on the precipice of progressive than the royal family ruling the kingdom, and that the royal family had to catch up, you know, and that the royal family's costuming is very, I mean, the stuff that Minnie wears.
Oh my God.
So beautiful. It's so incredible. But that is the most traditional of all the looks, you know? And then for Ellen and for Sharon Martin, who did hair and makeup, I basically was like, make it look like the Met Ball. Like, you know, I was like colorful, inspired. I don't want it to feel like, I don't want anything to be pastels. I don't want anything to be really light or anything. I want like rich color, layers, texture, you know. And they nailed it.
What did you, because this is such a leap for you as a filmmaker, as a director, what did you learn about yourself as a director and storyteller in making this musical that you can now take forward into your future works and with considerations towards scripting and towards directing and producing?
Yeah, look, I have always been confident in my abilities and have been the leader. I grew up an athlete. I've been the team captain of almost every team I've been on. And so in that way, I've always felt really good and strong and confident about myself. Having said that, after doing Cinderella, and as big as it was, and, you know, making it work on a, you know, we had a nice budget, but we didn't have, like, you know, $100 million budget by any stretch, right? Mm-hmm. So it was like trying to make it look like $100 million on a $50 million budget or $45 million budget. On half that, like, was quite a challenge. But so I feel like I learned a lot in how to do that. But the biggest lesson that I got out of this is that because of COVID, because of the pandemic, I was shooting the movie. We got shut down about 4 weeks in, about 5 months to the day. We came back. I shot the last 7 weeks of the movie. I can do anything. Like, I got through that, and we made, I think, a really fun movie that I hope people will feel joy. And we not only finished it, we finished it without incident, and I was able to overcome a lot of obstacles. So I feel like anything you throw at me, I'll be able to do. Because I did that. I just did this thing. And I say this to you because I was really scared when we shut down, as a lot of people were, with the pandemic and the unknown and the COVID of it all. And I kind of didn't, there was a couple months there where I didn't want to go back and finish the movie. Like, I was really doubting it all. But I did go back and I did finish it. And I feel like, you know, that really just showed to myself, I proved to myself that I can do it and I can do whatever's thrown my way.
Well, for my money, Kay, you have more than exceeded any expectation. You truly are the female version of Stanley Donen and Vincent Minnelli all rolled into one for the 21st Century Musical.
Thank you so much. Can I, like, just record you and, like, keep you your recording in my pocket?
Of course.
Have a bad day?
Of course. I love movie musicals. I always have, and this one is right up there as one that will go into my viewing canon for the rest of my life. So,
thank you, Debbie.
Okay, thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you do next and talk to you again.
All righty, thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.